Let me, first of all, start by thanking Mario for your leadership, for your partnership, and most of all, for your friendship. These last 4 years have brought us together working on these struggles, and we went from just kind of knowing each other to what I believe is a true working friendship with the same goals in mind, and that is working for every single working person in New York State. So I applaud you for all the efforts that you do as our great president of the New York State AFL-CIO. Let me thank you for that warm reception. I'll try to use the next 15 to 20 minutes to live up to the good things that Mario said about me. But let me first say good morning to each and every delegate to the 33rd Constitutional Convention of the New York State AFL-CIO. Thank you for your trust in re-electing me as your Secretary-Treasurer. Also, before I really get started, I must thank someone else who has been a mentor and a friend to me for close to, if not 30 years right now. Somebody that looked at a young local president in a union and said there was potential there when others may have not seen it. And this individual has been by my side, pushing me, coaxing me, giving me what I need to be able to do the work that I do today, and that is my mentor, Danny Donahue. Before I begin, I must give thanks to God for His blessing and all His grace, because see, I truly believe that the work that we do is His work. The work that we do every day when we get up out of the bed and when we decide that we're going to our jobs, when we think about who we're going to be representing, the energy that we get to be able to do the work that we do is given by Him. So I thank Him for waking me up one more time today, giving me the strength and the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to do the work that He would have me to do. Now, we've heard some things. We heard from our finance committee. You all received our financials. We have updated our billing processes. We've redefined our financial expenditures and have attempted to make every dollar work. We continue to be fiscally sound and in fact, have more resources to expand and enhance our operations to benefit all of our affiliates. See, when we look at the work that we do, as Mario said earlier, we don't just look at how are we going to service the public sector and how are we going to service the private sector and how are we going to serve the building and construction trades. We sit down and we look at how are we going to, with the resources that we have in the New York State AFL-CIO, how are we going to support all working men and women in New York State? And we put together a budget and we put together staff to be able to do that. We represent all, black, white, yellow, red. It doesn't make a difference what your color is. It doesn't make a difference if you're a man or a woman, gay or straight. New York State AFL-CIO, if you're a worker in New York State, we're representing you. Four years ago, my sisters and brothers, we faced an entirely different landscape, both politically and socially. Our presidential candidates were Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. The choices were a possible second-term black president or a billionaire from Utah. 4 years later, our choices are possible. It's possible for the first ever woman to be elected president of the United States. And on the other side, a billionaire, I'm sad to say, from New York. These are the conditions we face and the climate we are living in. Starting with the climate, we have to get real honest with ourselves. Climate change is real. New York is turning into Florida, and we have to do something to stop the continued deterioration of our environment. And what does this mean? This means investing in new resources of energy, build eco-friendly buildings, and train workers for jobs of tomorrow. Unfortunately, though, while our earth is deteriorating, worker rights and protections are also eroding. Global trade deals consistently set the bar lower and lower for wages, safety, and productivity. TPP is a horrible thing, and let me thank our Bernie folks for pushing Hillary to publicly say that she will never support it. And let me just pause there for a moment. We got a president in the White House that I supported in the first election and I supported in the second election. But I stand here before you today and tell you that TPP deal he put together was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and I will fight against it with every breath in my body, because there's no perfect politician, and when they're wrong, damn it, we gotta stand up as labor and tell our friends that they're wrong. While TPP, global deals and global warming, hurts us internationally, nationally we have a bigger problem. But before dealing with the yellow-headed elephant in the room, we need to take a look at our society as a whole. America is at a moral crossroads. We are polarized as a nation. The destruction of trust between officers and citizens has breeded violence and fear. There is truth to Black Lives Matter. My sisters and brothers, there's just too many videos and instances to deny this reality. But there's also truth that retaliatory murder of officers is horrible and tragic and unjustified. My grandmother told me a long time ago when I was growing up that two wrongs do not make a right. I don't think it's time to retaliate. I think it's time to come together and fix this broken system and bring police officers and community together as one. It's not about us against them, but it's us working together. Police officers out there, they're our brothers and our sisters in uniform. They're hired to protect us. Now let me be clear. I understand that they ain't all right. Don't get me wrong, but they ain't all wrong either. And we cannot, just like we don't want the right painting us all as labor with the same brush, We should not paint anybody with the same brush. There are tried and true programs that empower officers and community to work, but they require a new way of doing business. Broken window policing, criminalizing youth, and property protection over people protection are all failed approaches. These solutions, the solutions that require resources and commitment, both are lacking these days. We need to put the right resources and the right commitment to changing the tide. What also seems to be lacking is compassion and dignity for our brothers and sisters. Arguing over bathrooms shows the ugliest of us. Trying to criminalize what facilities a person uses while not addressing the horrifying rates of poverty, abuse, and addiction in the trans community is equal to fighting over what counter black people ought to sit at when they were being murdered and desegregated. It's the same thing we're dealing with today that we've dealt with in the past, and we cannot stand for it as a united people. There he is. There's a candidate who is stoking these fires and riling up the masses in a fury of racism, misogyny, homophobia, Islamophobia, and anti-government hysteria. He has tapped into the basest fears of people and is stirring them up. We have heard this rhetoric before, and it has never resulted in anything positive. His words mirror some of the worst leaders in history and set a tone that draws us back to the days of Jim Crow, Japanese internment camps, and the trials of tears. His treatment of women is a source of material for anti-harassment training. His entitlement and arrogance is a platform for the 99% movement. We are not him, he is not us, and we will never turn into a nation of haters because we lead in the movement we do not follow. Sisters and brothers, I see this election as a choice between the devil and deliverance. If Trump gets the keys to the White House, better get your affairs in order. I'm from the western end of the state. I'm just 5 minutes from Canada. Mario knows I speak up in Canada at least once or twice a year. Make sure I have my credentials in order. So I just want to warn you, if Trump gets the keys to the White House, he'll have his huge hand on the nuclear button. What a scary proposition. If Trump gets the keys to the White House, he'll pack the Supreme Court and the rest of the federal court system with judges that will be hostile to voting rights, hostile to unions, hostile to civil rights, hostile to immigrants, hostile to women. If Trump gets the keys to the White House, he'll put a knife in Obamacare. He'll turn a blind eye to racism and police brutality. He will take the safety nets for the elderly, the poor, and children, and will be slash them to pay for tax breaks for his wealthy backers. Worst of all, he will set a permissive tone for evil. Haters would know that bigotry is back in business in the White House, and the laws of white supremacy and make being black outside of a comfort zone of white people punishable will be upheld with lethal force. Now that's the devil's plan. And y'all know I'm a Baptist preacher. I don't like to play with the devil too much. Matter of fact, I pray every day that the Lord keeps him away from me, and I pray every day that he keeps him away from the White House. But I hope you agree with me that most Americans would rather vote for a candidate who offers a path to deliverance. Deliverance from hard times and little hope. Deliverance from rent too high and wages too low. Deliverance from locked up parents and dead young bodies piling up on the streets. Deliverance from the shackles of debt. Deliverance from a broken immigration system that punishes foreign workers but not the greedy employers who exploit them. Deliverance from an unjust education system that scapegoats teachers and steers poor children and kids of color into a school-to-prison pipeline. Deliverance from a criminal justice system that houses more people in prisons and jails and detention centers than on our college campuses. I'm talking about deliverance. We have come together to keep America heading toward the light of equality and justice. We cannot backslide into the dark days of Jim Crow or hooded vigilantes or church burnings. In the face of all this, I'm actually at ease. While there are challenges that I know today, we are in a better position to fight back than we were 4 years ago. In the last 4 years, we have expanded and strengthened our relationship with community groups. They know that our fight has become their fight, and their fight have become our fight. That means that we have more troops in the battle, and all of our members have a voice in change, both on the jobs and in their community. Our constituency groups, known as the conscience of the labor movement, have grown in the state. New chapters have been started, and existing ones have grown in membership and capacity. We're expanding our labor issues into the lives and homes of more than just union members, and that is how we grow. In addition to our growth in the community, we have been able to retool and further harness our political position in the state. Political victories like NYS show us how our members always come first, and our voice can make a difference. Sometimes you just got to stand up and fight for what is just and what is right against the oppression. Outside of politics, our union strength grew tenfold by the victory that we talked about yesterday with CWA and IBEW over Verizon. The multinational corporation couldn't defeat the people because, as the saying goes, ain't no power like the power of the people. And we stood up as one movement, and we backed their asses down. So while 4 years later, things seem bleak, the truth is we're 4 years more advanced in facing these challenges. We have evolved as an organization to be more efficient while also successful. We have modernized to stay ahead and to make sure that we are continuously positioned to grow. We collectively do all this for the families we impact and the ones that we go home to at night. We win because the power of the people don't stop. Finally, my sisters and brothers, this convention gives us time and space to recharge, to refocus. This convention is the place we come together and decide the path for the New York State labor movement for the next 4 years. This convention is where you, the delegates, give us, the leaders, the charge to go back and do the work that you want us to do. But the real work begins when we get home. And I'm fired up and ready to roll. I'm ready to get up, roll my sleeves up, and change some things out here. And my question to you today is, will you stand with me? Will you stand to your feet? Will you stand with me to educate our family and friends and neighbors on our issues? Will you stand with me to hold politicians accountable who we vote for? Will you stand with me to reach down and pull up young union activists? Will you stand with me to keep the devil out of the White House? Will you stand with me to bring community issues to our table and our issues to community table? Will you stand with me for an economy that works for all? Will you stand with me for a just and fair criminal justice system? This is our time. This is our season. God bless you, and God bless our